Hi, I'm Jim Webster. I'm on the Board of Education for Grand County School District here in Moab. And I'd like to follow up on the discussion that Superintendent Margaret Hopkin made the last video session, talking about developments with the budget. And there have been some developments. What has happened as of March 10th, the legislative session is over. That provides lots of information and opportunity for school districts throughout Utah, including our own. Of major significance was a bill, House Bill 98, which was written by Christine Watkins, who represents Grand County in part. That is a capital outlay fund modification bill that enables school districts that are small, 2,500 students or less, to use some of the capital outlay funding for certain maintenance operations to maintain their buildings and to pay for some utilities. The major change that was made in that bill that impacts our school district significantly is that a legislator from Salt Lake City put an amendment on that bill that only gave it a 3-year life. So there's a sunset. But there is some opportunity for our school district to utilize that authority for, again, the next 3 years. So looking back at the big picture of the budget, where Margaret finished up, I believe was this year. Last year, we ended up making, for this year that we're in right now, we cut 18 positions and a significant amount of money out of our budget, to the point where today we still have a $1.2 million deficit that we need to make up. And if you go back to the last several years with this recession, that $1.2 million deficit really was created when the legislature was cutting back funding to all school districts, including, of course, Grand County, to about that same amount of money, where we've been trying to catch up ever since. One bill that happened last legislative session was this HB 295, which gives school districts, all school districts, the ability to move capital outlay funding into maintenance and operations. So we did this, for this year, utilized approximately $575,000 worth of capital outlay money to pay for teachers and other staff. As you recall, we also got a $700,000 donation last year that was specified by the donor for some real specific positions and other things like step and lane. And if you've been reading the paper, I believe Margaret also talked about it, we also got a $700,000 donation again very recently, which is just awesome. But the House Bill 295 from last year and the donation doesn't not take care of the underlying problem with having to maintain some sort of basic ongoing funding level. So that's what this dotted line represents. So what I want to talk about now for a couple of minutes is what this means for next year and the next several years. House Bill 98 gives us almost the same ability to do the same thing with capital outlay funding for 3 more years, 2011, 2012, and 2013. So what that really means is that we can add an additional year to this chart. And we have the opportunity to utilize HB 98 money, capital outlay funding, for 3 years. This year, and this year. I'm sorry, it's 98, House Bill 98, not 95. House Bill 98, we have the ability to use it for 3 more years. We lose the ability to use 295 at the end of next year. We still have to make up that $1.2 million deficit. But instead of having to make it up over these years here, we have the ability to make it up over one more year. So utilizing the donation money, which is indicated here to soften this blow, we can also use House Bill 98 money to soften the blow. The $1.2 million is still what we have to make up, but because we have what I will call one-time funding for 1 to 3 years, we have the ability to reach that bottom structural balance line in 2014-2015. Next year, we need to make up, we need to continue with our refinement of staffing and refinement of our programs so that we can meet some sort of a financial equilibrium by 2014, by 15. So the plan is, and I believe that the superintendent talked about it last session, was to make cuts each one of these years until we get down there. We will continue to do that, and we're in the process of finalizing our budget for next year, where we will still need to cut approximately $300,000 or $350,000 for next school year. And by the authority of House Bill 98, that means that the following years, those cuts will need to be less drastic than originally planned. So I'm going to take a break here, and we'll talk about what the legislature has done for school districts statewide in terms of their base funding for next year.
Hi, I'm Robert Farnsworth, Business Administrator for the Grand County School District. I want to talk a minute about the funding bill, House Bill 2, that recently came through the legislative session. Now, on the news, you'll hear that there has been an increase, and there indeed has been an increase to this baseline, the base funding by the state. News has reported about a 2% increase. However, we're waiting for the fiscal analysis to come through to us to actually see how much that'll help our district. There will be some restricted money, such as special education, preschool, transportation even, that could affect how much this increase would be for us. Hopefully, by the end of next week, we'll have that analysis and we'll have a clear picture of how this baseline levels off. Another significant bill that went through the legislature is House Bill 301, which redefines our tax levies. And there's a lot of question and uncertainty about what the future holds for that, and we'll keep you posted in the future on changes to our tax levies and what that may help us or present new challenges for us in the future.
Well, so just to kind of wrap things up for today, as Robert said, we have a lot of information that's coming in from the legislative session. The superintendent and the business administrator will be going to a meeting at the end of this month in St. George with all the rest of the superintendents and business administrators in an attempt to understand what all the bills that have affected public education will mean to school districts. At that time, or after that time, sometime in early April, we will be able to provide more information to the public about how that makes next school year look, and in fact how it looks in light of HB 98 and other bills how we may end up finally looking at the next several years in terms of our funding stream. So thanks, and we'll looking forward to having another presentation in a couple of weeks.